Imagine waking up in the dead of night, the silence so thick it's almost suffocating. You reach for the light, but your hand trembles, because deep down you sense something's terribly wrong. Now, picture an entire family, innocent, unsuspecting, sharing that same moment of dread, only to never see the light of day again. On June 9th, 1912, in the small, close-knit town of Villisca, Iowa, a gruesome crime occurred that would send shockwaves across the nation and haunt the town for over a century. The Moore family, 6 beloved members of the community and 2 young guests, were savagely murdered in their beds, their lives stolen in the dark of night. The crime scene was a macabre puzzle, a house drenched in horror, where every room whispered secrets too terrifying to imagine. The killer, never caught, the motive, still unknown. In tonight's episode, we pull back the layers of this chilling mystery. We'll explore the shadowy corners of Villisca's history, uncovering the twisted minds of the suspects, and delve into the eerie evidence left behind. But as we journey deeper into the darkness, remember, some stories are so terrifying they might just be better left untold. The Moores were a picture-perfect family: Josiah, the hard-working father, Sarah, the devoted mother, and their 4 children, Herman, Mary Catherine, Arthur, and Paul. That night, they welcomed 2 young friends, Ina May and Lena Stillinger, into their home after a cheerful evening at the church. The town was peaceful, the air cool and damp as they walked home, unaware that evil lurked in the shadows, waiting for them to drift off to sleep. But this wasn't just a murder. It was a calculated, methodical slaughter. After the family and their guests fell asleep, an intruder crept through the house, wielding an axe with deadly precision. Josiah and Sarah were hacked to death in their bed, their children bludgeoned in theirs. The Stillinger sisters, guests who had simply wanted to stay for a sleepover, met the same horrifying fate. The following morning, a concerned neighbor noticed the eerie stillness of the Moore household. No one stirred, no lights were on. She knocked on the door, but no one answered. What she didn't know was that the horrors inside would soon become one of America's most infamous unsolved mysteries. When Josiah's brother Ross entered the house, he uncovered a nightmare. The bodies of the Stillinger girls were found first, covered in sheets, lifeless. As he ventured further into the house, the full extent of the carnage became clear. Every member of the Moore family had been murdered. The crime scene was ghastly. Mirrors and windows draped with cloth, the murder weapon left behind next to a strange, unexplained slab of bacon, and the victims' heads covered as if the killer couldn't bear to look at what he had done. The investigation was a circus, with townspeople trampling through the house, destroying vital evidence. The police were left with a trail of dead ends and a list of suspects that seemed to grow longer by the day. Was it Frank Jones, a powerful senator with a grudge against Josiah? Or Reverend Kelly, a disturbed preacher who confessed before retracting his statement? Or perhaps it was Henry Lee Moore, a convicted axe murderer with a penchant for killing? And then there's the most chilling theory of all. What if this wasn't a random act, but the work of a serial killer? A phantom who moved from town to town, slaughtering families in their sleep, leaving behind scenes of unimaginable horror and despair. As we unravel the Villisca axe murders, you'll find yourself questioning everything you thought you knew about evil. The killer's identity remains a mystery, hidden in the shadows, just out of reach. But as we dive into the details, beware. The truth may be far darker than you ever imagined. And as we piece together the puzzle, one question remains: are some mysteries better left unsolved? Stay with us as we descend into the heart of this cold case, where every twist and turn brings us closer to the terrifying unknown. As the investigation into the Villisca axe murders unraveled, the town's peaceful facade was shattered. Whispers of who the killer might be spread like wildfire, and suspicion fell on everyone from prominent townspeople to drifters passing through. The first suspect to capture the town's attention was Frank Jones, a local businessman and state senator who had once employed Josiah Moore. Their relationship had soured when Josiah left to start his own business, taking with him a valuable client. Rumors swirled that this professional rivalry had festered into something far more sinister, but could resentment truly drive a man to commit such a heinous crime? Then there was Reverend Lynn George Jacqueline Kelly, a traveling preacher with a disturbing past. Known for his peculiar behavior and dark obsessions, Kelly became a suspect after allegedly confessing to the murders. But his story was inconsistent, and many believed his confession was nothing more than the ramblings of a troubled mind. Still, the fact that he had left town early on the morning after the murders and was reportedly fascinated by the crime scene left a lingering doubt. And what about Henry Lee Moore, a man with a chilling history of violence? Not related to the Moore family, this Moore was a convicted axe murderer who had killed his own family in a similarly brutal fashion. Was he the missing link in a series of unsolved axe murders across the Midwest? Or was it mere coincidence that his name came up in connection with Villisca? As investigators pieced together the timeline of that fateful night, they discovered unsettling details. Cigarettes left in the attic suggested that the killer had waited patiently for the Moore family to fall asleep before striking. The murder weapon, Josiah's own axe, was left at the scene, a grim token of the killer's work. But what truly confounded the police was the way the crime was staged. The covering of mirrors, the draping of windows, the carefully placed slab of bacon. It was as if the killer had performed a ritual, leaving behind clues that only deepened the mystery.
Despite the efforts of law enforcement, the case grew cold. The trail of evidence was muddied by the townspeople who had trampled through the house, and as the years passed, the memory of the Villisca axe murders became a ghost story. A dark chapter in the town's history that no one could close. But even as the case faded from the headlines, the question lingered. Was this the work of a lone madman? Or was Villisca merely one stop on a bloody journey across America? The similarities between the Villisca murders and other unsolved cases in Colorado, Kansas and beyond suggest a chilling possibility. A serial killer who slipped through the cracks of history, leaving a trail of terror in his wake. As we stand at the edge of this unsolved mystery, we're left with more questions than answers. Who was the phantom that haunted Villisca that night? Was he a man consumed by jealousy, a preacher driven by madness, or a drifter with a dark past? Or was he something far more terrifying, a nameless, faceless killer whose identity will forever remain in the shadows? In the end, the Villisca axe murders are a reminder that some evils are never truly understood, and some mysteries are destined to remain unsolved. As we close this chapter, one thing is certain. The darkness that fell over Villisca on that cold June night still lingers, waiting for the light of truth to pierce its depths. But perhaps some things are better left in the dark. Stay tuned as we continue to explore the most haunting mysteries of the past, where every story brings us closer to understanding the darkness that lies within us all. As we delve deeper into these unsolved mysteries, the Villisca axe murders serve as a chilling reminder that sometimes the most terrifying horrors are those we cannot see, the unknown forces that can strike without warning, leaving behind a trail of devastation. The questions surrounding Villisca's dark past are far from settled. What if the killer or killers are still out there, their identity protected by the passage of time? What if the clues we have, the whispered stories passed down through generations, are mere fragments of a much larger and more sinister narrative? Could there be a connection to other unsolved murders across the Midwest? Or is the truth buried somewhere in the secrets of Villisca itself? The deeper we go, the more we realize how little we truly know. Every fact we uncover, every lead we follow seems to open up new avenues of doubt and fear. The eerie details, the carefully covered mirrors, the strange placement of objects, the methodical brutality, suggest a mind at work that is as calculating as it is deranged. Was this the work of a cold-blooded killer with a clear motive? Or was it an inexplicable act of madness, carried out by someone who simply vanished into the night? As we continue our journey into the unknown, we invite you to stay with us, to keep watching, and to join the discussion. Each mystery we explore together is a piece of a larger puzzle, one that spans decades, crosses state lines, and defies easy answers. As we piece together these stories, We are not just looking for the truth. We are confronting the very nature of fear, of what it means to live in a world where such darkness exists. So if you're as captivated by the mysteries of the past as we are, if you're drawn to the stories that make the hairs on the back of your neck stand up, then stay with us. The road ahead is winding and treacherous, filled with the echoes of forgotten crimes and the whispers of the unknown. But together, we'll keep pushing forward, peeling back the layers of history to reveal the truth, or as close to it as we can get. Subscribe and hit the notification bell, because the darkness doesn't stop at Villisca. There are more stories out there, stories that will chill you to the bone, stories that will make you question everything you think you know. And as we journey into the heart of these mysteries, remember, some shadows are cast by something more than just the night. Are you ready to take the next step into the unknown? Then let's go, because the mysteries are calling, and the answers might be closer than you think. Or perhaps they're still lurking just out of reach, waiting to pull you into the darkness.